Hi people, me again, Moino Ravenberg as always. In light of it being Mother's Day, I'm not even 100% sure that today is Mother's Day. Hold on, let me check. Is today Mother's Day? Yeah, Sunday, May the 9th, yeah. In the US and so on, it's Mother's Day, yeah. But, okay. In light of Mother's Day, usually I don't do videos like these because I'm not too keen on holidays. Not that Mother's Day is a holiday, but so to speak. But since we're on the subject of Mother's Day, so to speak, I'm going to briefly touch upon this subject and I'm going to remind people of something very important. Because a lot of people, as narrow-minded as they tend to be, tend to unrealistically glorify their mothers. Now, before I begin, I'm going to say that I'm not here to badmouth mothers. Of course, motherhood and mothers that care for their children or offspring are great, of course, and one should be grateful and thankful for them. But a lot of people, and here it comes, they tend to make the awful mistake of basically glorifying their mother, seeing their mother as some kind of, usually children tend to do that, regardless of gender, whether it be boy or girl, man or woman. They tend to glorify their parents, specifically the mother. And what I dislike is that the father barely gets any credit, honestly, when you compare the two, compared to the mother. Usually children see their mothers as everything because the mother sacrifices so much for the child and does all of that stuff. And they come up with a bunch of idiotic statements in terms of mothership, as in, you know, my mom is the one that breastfed me, she's the one that taught me life lessons. And I'm like, oh, just save all that nonsense for yourself. Motherhood from a neutral point of view is anything but special. This is also in relation to, this closely correlates, this subject closely aligns with and or correlates to subjects such as childbirth and whatnot. But maybe I'll talk about that some other time, if I haven't done so already. But yeah, to stay on point, children tend to unrealistically glorify their mothers. And when the question comes why you should love your mother, you'll get a bunch of idiotic answers, as in, my mom breastfed me. That's not an answer, honestly. You know, they can't come up with a clear, coherent answer. Okay, motherhood by default is nothing special. Okay, every mammal practically on earth that has given birth or birthed offspring is a mother. Okay, and does the same thing. Most mothers, of course not every mother is like that, but most of them, they care for their children, they nurture their children, they literally give their children everything they need to stand a chance in the world, to put it that way, and or better yet, to become a success, of course. Bear in mind, not all mothers are like that, okay? But in general, or generally speaking, that is the case. Now, and here it comes. While all of that is all good and well and true, okay, that still does not automatically mean that your mother, okay, in this hypothetical example, that your mother is, or that a mother is not a human being anymore. I mean, if you have a mother that loves you and cherishes you and all of that stuff, or did all of that for you while you were growing up, that's great. But that still doesn't mean that your mother is some unstoppable Superman or Superwoman. No, your mother, regardless of how kind she was to you, is still a human being with her own faults and shortcomings. Like most of us, like almost all of us do. The only being that is perfect is God himself, of course. Okay, and Jesus when he was on earth by God's grace, like everything else. But in terms of God's grace. But for the rest, yeah, okay. The mistake that people make is that they glorify their mothers. They unrealistically glorify their mothers, as in, they put their mothers on pedestals, as in, yeah, you can love your mother as a parent. Okay, you can love your mother for the fact that she nurtured you and took care of you. Okay, if she didn't, or if she gave you up for adoption, or something that's generally speaking construed as horrible, then yeah, obviously that's not so nice, but still, of course, that's still no reason to hate your mother and whatnot. It all depends on the situation. Your mother obviously had reasons. If she genuinely did not want you, this might be a touchy subject, but if those mothers do exist, okay? Bad mothers do exist. If she genuinely didn't want you, and of course I'm not referring to myself, I wasn't put up for adoption or anything like that. I'm just saying, if she genuinely didn't want you or anything like that, then that's fine as well. You know, like I said, this again touches on the subject. Just because a mother is a mother, she gave birth to someone, doesn't automatically mean that she stops being a human being, nor does it mean that she's some unreal superhero for doing what she did. Again, I refer back to my example of childbirth. You know what, I think I'm going to discuss this right now. Okay, since we're discussing this subject, it's the same thing with people glorifying childbirth, that giving birth to children is a wonder and a miracle and all of that. No, it's not. Every mammal on earth more or less is capable of giving birth to offspring, so save it. Now, childbirth, you can celebrate it for yourself if you are the one that birthed the child, or if you're a man that's seeing a woman that gave birth to a child, as in it's your child, that's your seed right there that turned into a human being, so to speak. Then yeah, that's fine. Okay, you can celebrate it for yourself, but don't delude yourself into thinking that you did something unrealistically amazing, that it's a wonder, because people love doing stuff like that. Okay, as in, oh, it's a miracle from God. Yeah, and the rest of mankind who was given birth to alongside a good deal of other mammals, or practically every other mammal, is what? Also a miracle? That automatically takes away the whole definition of being a miracle. By definition, a miracle is something that's so rare that maybe only 1 in 5 million people can either do it, or it's something that is so rare that it's only happened once or twice within the history of the world. And yet you're going to call giving birth to a child a miracle. No, it's not. You can celebrate the birth of you can celebrate the concept of giving birth, or simply producing offspring in any way, shape or form. Knock yourself out. But don't delude yourself into thinking that you actually did something that's truly special or truly unique. That's just stupid. That's just plain idiocy. End of story. Now, back to the concept of motherhood. It's the same thing. Mothers, okay, your mother, doesn't matter whether your mother gave birth to you, etc., 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 whether she was a great mother or a bad mother, does not matter. At the core, she's still a human being, like I said, with her faults and shortcomings. Just because she gave birth to you and she nurtured you to the point where you have an idealized image built in your head, then that's your problem, okay? That's my point. Does not automatically take away the fact that she's a human being. She gave birth to you, she did what a mother is supposed to do, okay? And you can love her for that, which is fine. That's a natural reaction. You're supposed to love her. But my point is that the same would apply to anyone. Any parent or non-parent even. If your father or even a stranger did the exact same thing for you, then they deserve no less. They deserve no less than the same level of treatment and the same level of admiration and idealism that you show your mother. Okay, but in the world, unfortunately, usually it's the mother that ends up having to take care of the child. And that's also why people, as narrow-mindedly as people tend to be, they have an idealistic, unrealistic version of their mothers in their heads. You know, as in, my mom took care of me, she breastfed me. Yeah. Your mom didn't do anything out of the ordinary. I'm not here to defecate or defecate on and or badmouth, okay, good motherhood or good motherhoodship. Of course, that's great. All of that stuff is commendable. But again, do not be deluded, even if you are the child in this statement, into thinking that your mother is some kind of superwoman just because she did what she is supposed to do. No, she did what she is supposed to do. Okay? As a parent, it's her duty to take care of you and to nurture you and to make you as strong as possible so that you can be the best human being you can possibly be. Okay? And that includes teaching you about morality and all the life lessons that life has and all that. So, all of that. But again, don't delude yourself if you're the child that your mother is some kind of superwoman, that she's some kind of invincible, amazing, unstoppable force of within the universe. She's an unstoppable force of being that can't do any wrong or any harm or any good. No. If you actually think for a second, if you stop and think for a second and stop being a narrow-minded buffoon, which most people are, then you'll actually see your mother for who she is. She was a good mother in terms of taking care of you. As a human being, it's a different story altogether, either for better or for worse. She can be somewhere in between. She can be, generally speaking, a good person, or she can be a not so nice person. Okay, worst case scenario is that your mom's a bitch. End of story. As in, she is a very unpleasant human being that has done some unpleasant things in her life, and whatnot. Or on the opposite end, she was a very caring and sympathetic woman that actually genuinely wanted what was best for others. Fine, that's it. Or somewhere in between. That's simple. See, that's being realistic. And that's my point. Okay, don't make the mistake of actually of excessively glorifying and unrealistically glorifying motherhood. Okay, specifically your own mother that whom gave birth to you. It doesn't matter. Just because she gave birth to you, just because she nurtured you and took care of you, you should be grateful for that. But that doesn't mean that you owe your mother anything. How can you owe someone for something that they were supposed to provide you with right from the get-go? You didn't ask to be born. You didn't say, oh, okay, I want to be born, so woman, I want you to take care of me when I'm born. I want to come out of your vagina, blah, 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 blah. No. None of that. Okay? So, we are all born, okay? God calls the shots, regardless of whether you believe in God or not, the universe, whatever you want to call it. Okay? And our mothers are simply the vessels through which we are brought into this world. That's it. Okay? They're the boats basically that set us ashore, but that doesn't mean that we literally come from the hypothetical boat. So yeah, that's simply my point. So for the last time, don't make the mistake of unrealistically glorifying either your mother or any mother or just motherhood in general. You can be proud of your mother in terms of the fact that she did what she was supposed to do. She actually nurtured you and took care of you. She really tried to be the best mother she could be. That alone in itself is commendable. Okay? Commendable from your point of view because it matters to you, because she actually treated you that way in a good way and therefore gave you a good deal of the tools you need or you needed and still need to survive in the world. All good and well. Okay? But don't make the mistake of being so delusional that you automatically see your mother as some superwoman that can't do harm. No, your mother and anyone else for that matter is still a human being, and therefore is still subject to all the factors that we're all subject to in the world. The same way that you have your faults and shortcomings, your mother has the same thing. Okay? She's still a human being at the end of the day. End of story. That's all. See you guys later. Bye.